What's up, guys? It's me, Drift Away. Today we're going to be talking about Cephalops, a Rome or Loomian, or Loomian Legacy. And this is going to be a theory video of why Cephalops is out in the wild and all that, as being explained from the Dex, Wikipedia, I mean, that it only lives in the oceans and surfaces to lay their eggs. Their mother dies when they're born, and the hatchlings have feed upon the remains of the mother. We look over here. This is Cephalops, as you can see in its glory. And this is the mother Cephalops, as we can tell from the Wikipedia. Very disgusting, as you can see the skeletons of this thing. And his eyes been eaten out by this Cephalops is so much smaller from this Cephalops because it's a baby. That's the only reason why it's still alive. It makes sense why these still eggs here. These eggs have hatched. That's actually still Cephalops. That's a Cephalops baby right there. See the eye right there? Yeah. And we can actually move around in this room by going over here. There's moss everywhere, as this is like a little breeding ground. Almost all the eggs are hatched, and they're gone, which explains why we can find cephalops in the wild, because they're actually just babies roaming around. You're looking. Now, my theory for why they're up on the ground and not in the ocean, like it says, is they're probably there to lay eggs, which makes absolutely no sense to me because this mother is so much more bigger, and that's how she was laying eggs. So how would the baby lay an egg? It's only a baby. But then I came up with an answer. It's because they're probably trying to go to a new ocean in Borea, in the Loomian Legacy, because there are other oceans, as we can tell from the beginning of the game. There's a little Midas town. The river goes floating off. We can just assume that leads to an ocean, and the Cephalops are trying to go to a new ocean, which comes to an answer of, can't these Loomians go extinct from catching them all, or like be captured them all? I was like, no, it can't, because there's eggs that are still down here, they're still being born. Like these eggs, these two eggs right here, they're not hatched yet. This one over here is still not hatched. So even if we were to catch them, these Cephalops were to hatch and would go to another part of the ocean, or still stay here. That is that's a possible explanation, and then breed more. So we can't really do anything. And from the perspective, they don't have to have a father to breed, because this is just a single mother. From the Dex also says that the mother dies. Nothing about the father. So it's clear that the Cephalops don't need a mother. The Cephalops don't need a father to breed with. They can just breed on their own. Which is like tree frog behavior, as they can change their sex, which is kind of unusual for a weird spider creature with like a stinger and all that weird thing. I don't know how to explain what Cephalops is, but yeah, it's pretty dark if you think about it. How the mother dies and the hatchlings feed upon her. As you can still see, there's still more flesh and skin that these three babies can eat. And more than likely, by the time in the game, when we leave this place, the three Cephalops probably hatch. They probably do. That's why we still find more Cephalops in the wild, blah blah blah. But here's a real, like, yeah, that's like they find them in the wild. We find them in the wild. We catch them. They're now part of our team. Blah 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 blah. Now, as we can tell from this Cephalops dead body corpse, it sees that his eyes been pecked out or eaten by this, probably, because it's the only baby. This one right here is the only baby that's actually out of its egg and roaming like wild. So, as we can tell, it looks almost identical to the normal one. Besides, let's see, it looks almost exactly the same as normal Cephalops. Besides, this mother right here, this actually might be a Gleeman, because actually it's probably not. But when normal animals die, their skin becomes like darker, like lighter and all that. Like less pretty, basically. That's why there's no more screen thing right here. I don't know. That is like radioactive thing right here. That's why none of this right there. It's probably because it all died out when it died. Now, how did the mothers die when they give birth? More than likely, they die when giving birth is too painful for them because, as we can tell, they give birth to 12 eggs at a time. Well, this one did, which is probably too much painful for it. That's why it probably passed. And the corpse probably rotted before the babies could hatch and feed upon it, which is actually very dark. If you actually take a moment to think about it, Cephalops is dark, really dark, and I think Cephalops isn't too strong. Like one of the weakest um, roamers to use in PvP is actually because it's a baby. Again, with my baby theory, it explains why it's so much smaller than the mother corpse and why it's not as good as the other roamings in PvP. So I think I'm going to end this theory video right here. I think I did a pretty good job, and like and subscribe and comment down if you think I actually did a good job, and I'll see you guys next time.